And we are back, and if you'll notice, my guests this morning are the folks who are involved with this movie called Tenebrous. And starting to my right and moving that direction, we have Phil Melfi, and he's the producer. Next is Brad Thornton. He's the one there kind of a little bit taller there in the green. And finally we have Louis Mandylor, and both of those two gentlemen are the actors in the production.
That is correct.
Absolutely. Well, let's start off with the fact that, you were calling this movie, I guess, Phil, we'll start with you, calling this movie Tenebrous, and for those of us who aren't real familiar with Latin and that kind of thing, what does that mean, and then how does that relate to what's going to happen in the film?
Well, Tenebrous is Latin for dark and gloomy, and basically it's a thriller horror film, and we tie into a lot of dark visual effects, especially like out on some of these old roads at night with the really dark willows, and so it's and plus the setting and the scene and some of the action and a lot of the mood is very dark. I mean, bad things happen in the film.
Okay.
The flip side to that is it's also about a man, Denny White, our lead character here, who's also searching for his truth, finding himself in more or less rekindling his old spirit and his old bloodline, because he's actually from Tennessee. His ancestors are from Tennessee.
Okay. Right.
So we're also revealing an arc where a guy's looking for his truth and also his sanity. So it's a cool combination of the horror, the elements of the town, and the character-driven arc.
And what's his character's name again?
Denny White. That's
Denny White.
Yeah,
okay.
Denny White
There's some meaning in that, I would assume.
Yes.
White and black and
yes. When
gloomy.
you go see it, you'll enjoy it because it's
a lot of subliminal.
Much deeper.
Well,
it's much deeper.
It's a
story.
thinking man's horror film. I mean, you see a lot of horror films. They got this basic, formula. Guts, girl running around. There's no real story.
Exactly.
This is about a story, and it just so happens to have crazy things happening all around it.
And let's also mention this: all of this will be filmed in Warren County, or most of it, or
99% of it, unless we have any CG that's done in another town.
Okay, fantastic. So 99% of it here in Warren County. Now we might want to start off with this. Now at about 9 o'clock today at Capilano's, you're going to be doing a casting call. So let's talk about that and what you're looking for. And so if there's folks out there who are watching right now, they may say, "Hey, that sounds like something I could do."
Absolutely. We've got a couple scenes where we need at least 100 people. One of the scenes is a funeral procession. We need you to come in, get your car rich and famous. No, actually just come in and get it famous. Drive by the funeral procession is one of them. The other one we have is a town
hall meeting.
We need another 100 people to fill the town hall and
It'd
stuff.
be a lot of fun. It'd be real exciting, and
good stuff.
We're all happy to promote this the city as well. Funny enough, I myself have some friends here. I'm from Los Angeles, and we were planning on getting some land here a couple of years ago. Funny enough, we opened a new company, and life is great. It brought us here to McMinnville, and it's real beautiful. So we will be visually showing off a lot of this town, and Phil has showed us some great locations, and
I love
it's
it
a
here.
beautiful little city.
I love it here. It's very green, very lush, very summertime for me.
It can be beautiful, but it can be ominous. Come the evening and the weather changes and what have you.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the silence out there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful countryside, and that's what we want to showcase is the beauty of the surrounding areas, and then how at nighttime and whatnot that can turn a little scary and stuff like that. That little shadow out there could be a little scary. You never know what's watching you.
Well, it's kind of funny. Since you brought that up, that reminds me of something that happened to me here a while back. I was looking out my back door. It was dark, and it looked like to me there was like a little dwarf out in the distance.
You got to watch those dwarfs, man. I tell you.
Mocking me. It'd go back and forth, and I would look and look and look. And I thought, well, I'm going to be, the manly type, and I'm going to take charge. And so I go out there and I look, and this thing that really fascinated me for so long, I thought, what in the world is this? It was actually some little flowers and weeds that were swaying.
Just doing a little of that, and then the mind takes over.
The lighting, exactly, it was all in the mind.
That's what's the scariness of a scary movie.
Exactly.
It's not seeing the reveal of the creature eventually, but it's the scare tactic. It's what your mind, your imagination. That's what really is scary.
And if I may say something, it's great that you shared that little story, because in every horror movie you say, why are they going out there? You went out there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I could have gone on back to bed, but it caught my eye.
You had to go have a look.
What in the world is that?
That's great.
But if I hadn't, I always thought, well, Greg, you're a chicken. So I had to do the manly thing. So.
Did you take a shotgun with you?
No, I didn't.
I don't know.
I just walked straight out there, and
Just,
You're a tough guy.
The closer you get, you figure out what it is. Now, some of the things we need to mention too. Let's mention some of the projects that you guys have already been involved in, and so because some of them people have already heard of. It's pretty fascinating. I'm glad that we had you guys on our show this morning. So, let's have you guys starting here and going across. Just mention some of the things that you've been involved in that we've heard of.
I don't think I've been involved in anything that anyone's really heard of. I took credit. The only film I ever took credit in was called Get No, and Get No was I co-produced in Las Vegas, and it was done in Budapest and in Las Vegas, and I loved the story of it, and that's why I took more of a role than I normally would take. Normally, I just go out and find money or find elements to a film, and then I.
He's more hands-on with this particular package because
Yeah.
Phil and Brad have a relationship of 10 years and what have you. And Brad and I met on a movie just recently we shot called The Sensei.
Yeah.
And in a nutshell, we more or less came together to be hands-on as main producers as well on this particular project to support Phil as well. So Phil has a company. What's your company called, Phil?
Movie Partners.
Movie Partners.
Okay.
And Movie
Melfi
Partners.
Associates is the producing company.
That's right. So Melfi and Associates, in combination with Krakatoa Films, which is Brad's company with myself, we formed it just last month, have come together to be hands-on with a slate of 3 or 4 films actually, and this is the first of them.
Now speaking of that, let's get into how movies are made and that kind of thing. I guess you guys are independent type things, and can you talk about how hard it is? I guess it takes a lot of effort, I guess, to get an independent film
Incredible.
done, doesn't it?
It's incredible.
It's almost like a miracle. I mean, the first challenge is, of course, getting that independent financing together. But then it's all a matter of how much of a package and the strength of it that you can create. And what we're developing here is we're like on the ground running from the day one. And once we have funding in place, then it's all the necessary steps. We have a great ensemble cast that we create. We bring in a great director, a great DP, great special effects person. Everybody who's on the same page, very passionate about what they do, but more attached to spirit than ego. We're not Hollywood. We're a bunch of guys that love making film.
Who live in Hollywood.
Yeah, and also McMinnville.
I live here.
Yeah, and we're, it's.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an amazing place.
We want to live here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
How could you not?
Which that brings up something else, which I think is a good issue to kind of go to. Used to everything had to be made in Hollywood, but more and more things are being,
The internet, computers.
internet pushing things
And
out,
also-
the Tennessee
which is
Film
good.
Commission and the incentives that they're offering.
Exactly.
Not to mention technology these days is allowing independent filmmakers to be more hands-on with their visions, as far as the HD, catching up with the film, and now in post you can more or less buy a Final Cut Pro and, set yourself up at home, and if you know and you have the knowledge how to put a film together, you actually can. Whereas 10 years ago you had no chance.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of stuff in Blockbuster and in the video stores that they never make it to theater because they're a cookie cutter formula. Everybody's just kind of putting out the same thing. And that's really great for us because we have a very unique film here with a lot of different aspects from the beginning of the story to the cast and the
Wonderful
people
cast
involved.
attached,
Yeah, so it's
Louis
amazing.
is phenomenal, and Brad is amazing, and what they did when I called Brad and I said, I've got a deal and I need your help, and these guys just showed up, and it was like, and then Brad went out and got this. We just pulled all kinds of favors to
real fast. It happened
pull
real
this
quick.
off and to do it here, to do it in McMinnville, because it's a great place. It's a great place and I want to bring more here.
That would be fantastic. This is changing gears just a little bit. We'll get back to talking about Tenebrous in a minute. But starting to my right, starting with Phil and going this direction, can you guys tell me your favorite movie and why, and perhaps how it caused you to perhaps go into the business, that kind of thing?
Oh, wow.
It's hardest on the person to my right because see these two guys. These
He's
two
ready.
guys.
He's ready.
Oh, really?
Let me go
Okay.
ahead.
Well,
Sure,
Brad, you
that's
jump
easy.
in, and then okay.
That's really easy for me. And people can say what they will about his acting or whatever, but one of my favorite movies I'd say is Rocky, for a lot of different things. One of them is because he wrote that screenplay. Stallone wrote that screenplay